How he is still struggling with this cold, trying everything. It's rather has to do with the weather. The weather has been absolutely horrific, and that's not helping. Anyway, I'm in good form though. Anyway, yes. Look, it's got to the point now where if I meet an individual and they say to me, "Oh, there was no such thing as a high technology human civilization in the past, or more than one," I just have no time for them. The evidence is now overwhelming. The work of like Brian Forrester and uh, Graham Hancock and all the others. It's just amazing that the people can still be in denial when they see things that have been clearly been drilled through stone, God knows how many thousands of years ago. And that's just one example. But then there's also another side of the coin that says they were destroyed by themselves or they were destroyed by a cosmic event. Well, I'd like to throw a new thing into the mix. Now, first of all, one of the reasons you have the alien visitation psyop, the Anunnaki, the Nephilim, all this nonsense, is deliberately put out there so you don't know that human beings attained a high level of civilization in the far distant past, maybe 12,000 years ago, at least once before, maybe even before that again, hundreds of thousands of years ago, and it was destroyed because that does not fit in with the Darwinian notion that human beings were first monkeys, then monkey men, then savages, and then after the Middle East and the Bible became civilized. That's why they fill your head full of like ancient aliens, and this is why they push this thing constantly nonstop. It's because they do not want you coming to the obvious conclusion that humanity was highly civilized in the past, highly advanced, and something happened with a very different form of technology. This is why I'm against this whole idea of people looking for pi and Greco-Roman stuff in ancient megaliths, because these people had a different science altogether in the past. Invariably, we then always come to the element of, well, what happened to them? There's theories out there that range from catastrophism, that, an alteration in the cosmic planetary structure of the inner solar system caused a great disaster on the Earth. Possible. More open to that than I am to, like, aliens. That a pandemic or something like that happened. Yeah, very possible. That humans developed a technology that they couldn't control and it destroyed them. Yeah, possibly, but humans are not as stupid as they make us out to be, and I mean the elites make us out to be, and that's just a new thing, but we have to be careful because a lot of this thing of like the past doomsday is rooted in Christianity and the whole idea of redemption, judgment day, ye shall be punished. So we have to be very careful about how we approach all this. We can't say, to say, oh, human beings were destroyed by a technology they had seems very much in terms of, being punished for your sins. And that's, we all know where that comes from. You know, they take what happened at the Jonestown colony in America and they extrapolate it to an ancient civilization. But absolutely, beyond a shadow of a doubt, there was advanced human technology on this planet thousands and thousands of years ago. The evidence is now overwhelming and appearing all the time. Now, when people say to me, well, how did they do things like, make those polygonal walls and you make these impossible stone structures? My answer is the same as Graham Hancock's. I don't know. All I know is they did it. And that's enough for me, by the way. That's enough for me. Until, things can come along. I mean, we don't know. Maybe the Great Pyramid of Giza, the way Graham Hancock has eloquently and beautifully describes the way the Great Pyramid has this kind of geomantic connection to the rest of the planet Earth. Who knows? Maybe the Great Pyramid was a seed from outer space and the Earth grew out from it. I mean, I'm open to anything. The only reason they have you believing in aliens is because they don't want you believing that the ancient humans were intelligent. That's the only reason they have you believing in that. Now, I wonder if the Great Pyramid is a crystal or something like that, planet-growing crystal. That's me just like, just popped in my head just now. Now, let's talk about my part of the mix. As you know, when it comes to things like these sort of like ancient mysteries, I don't jump in with the prevailing consensus in the alternative or mainstream or whatever. For instance, the alien thing, I believe, is very much part of the entire fairy folklore, jinn, demons thing. It's just a new modern version of that. If you look at the ancient fairy abductions of Ireland, they're identical to alien abduction experiences in America in the 1960s and 70s. Travis Walton, what was he doing? Chopping down trees in a remote forest. What would you piss off there, fairies? So, like, let's just leave that for one side. So that's, I tend to go with that. The giants thing, I go with the aquatic giants, as you saw my recent documentary on Maltese giants, that they were aquatic in nature towards the end. They had to go into the sea because gravity changed. My theory again. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm open to other people's theories. This is my mix. I always like to be a maverick thinker in how I approach things. Now here is my catastrophism theory. It's alchemical in the sense that it was it's probably wired into our psychology, not in a Christian redemption way, but it is. Let me explain to you. People who follow the Gurdjieff cults, they don't follow that to the end, because at the end of Gurdjieff's life, towards the end of his work, he told his followers everything he believed in was bullshit and it was all made up. But it wasn't because he was a fraud. It was because he wanted to destroy. This way, all these cults who used Gurdjieffian philosophy is basically the template for many cults. It's that with Christianity is the template for many science fiction, flying saucer, comet cults, and those kinds of things. And the cult leaders never. They constantly push Gurdjieffian stuff among their cult followers, but they don't tell them the very end of Gurdjieff's life. He said it's all bollocks. I made it all up. Basically, that's what he said. And the reason why he did this was to get people to think for themselves, and that's why the cult leaders never teach them the final work of Gurdjieff. The idea was that you put all your faith in this person. Like, for instance, let's put it this way: you put all your faith in a relationship, right? And you're in a relationship with someone, and your life is wrapped around that person, right? And then suddenly one day they say, I'm finished, goodbye," and they walk away. Well, it's a tarot card, isn't it? In the tarot, the whole thing is falling apart, and you literally a lamb lost in the winter, in the dark night of the soul. However, you recover, and then you learn how to think for yourself and never be dependent upon another person ever again. And that is the alchemical lesson of building the tower around the relationship with someone else, that you learn how to survive on your own, that you don't need another person to be complete. Now, let's take that with technology, right? What if human beings are destined to discover that the ultimate, and we're getting this close here now with the whole thing with, transhumanism and everything, that eventually our society discovers that technology is not the answer, and they go into a state of shock, and then they fall apart, and then the society and civilization collapses, and then the machines explode because they're not being maintained, and the civilization crumbles because of it. There's an alchemical engagement with our relationship with technology, because the further we move away towards technology, the more we move away from nature. And Gaia one day says to us, "Be gone." And is this what the real thing is? That the real objective of this whole thing of catastrophism is based on the fact that previous civilizations discovered that they were on the wrong path. They got so far, and then they discovered that this is not the answer. And then after they had developed an unnecessary codependent relationship with technology. I'm doing a course at the moment, an art course teaching at a high-tech facility here in Ireland, and they're paying me very well to teach people about art and the history of art and everything. It's like one of these things they do for their staff. And this facility is on the cutting edge of transhumanism. I can't tell you where it is or what I'm working at, but it is the cutting edge of transhumanism. And I'm seeing things in here I haven't seen on the videos on the internet. And this is in Ireland. If they have this in Ireland, what the hell do they have in Silicon Valley? Now, What very nice people, very nice place, very impressive facility, beautiful. They look after their staff really well. They're really nice to me. Can't fault the company. They're just doing the right thing. But the you can see the tower card being built. Put it that way. You can see the tower being built for the tower card. That's the way I would describe it. And the symbolism of 9/11, the two towers collapsing, the whole thing of that was the big, that was almost like that was almost to remind you you're not as stable as what you are. Your technology is fleeting. And I'm not ruling out there's even a possibility that even when human beings reach the point where they are on the point of catastrophism in terms of their toxic or codependent relationship with super high technology, well, maybe that's when a particular comet comes from the outer solar system and comes right in and knocks them out. It's it's all cycles. I mean, as a pagan, and an Indo-European pagan, I very much subscribe to the idea that everything is secular, that everything comes and goes in cycles. Everything has a secular nature, and that doesn't mean it's fatalistic. That means an acceptance that just like the spring comes in the spring and the autumn comes in the autumn and the snow falls in winter, that the same things will happen to the consciousness of man. Now, that doesn't mean you're destroyed by it because you build houses to survive the winter, you wear warm clothes. Well, you do the same thing with your psyche and your psychology. You build a psychic firewall in order to help you deal with these fatalistic things that things like Christianity and transhumanism create a sense of fear within you. And that's what the other video on this channel today is going to be about. The rise of paganism and how it's a lifeboat for people like us as the tower is falling. So you think about that now. Catastrophism is an alchemical engagement with the toxic elements of our civilization in terms of our codependency upon technology and our toxic relationship with this belief that everything must be done to an extreme level, and technology solves everything as we move further away from Gaia until Gaia one day bitch slaps us.